Hey, everybody, we want to welcome you to Heart with Dan and Angela.
Hi, everyone.
And we just wanted to do a little talk today. And I basically, I hope that this talk gets to some of the witnesses, some of the Jehovah's Witnesses, because what I want to say to you, and it really saddens me, is that you are being screwed. You are being screwed. And you're being screwed by men who know they're screwing you. And I couldn't help but think of this. Me and Angela were riding our bikes yesterday, right? And we're riding along the Boise River. And as we went by, we saw this thing that looked like a factory, wasn't it? It was a massive building, and I was like, wow, what is that? And, we went up to it, and it was who was it? The Mormons. It was the Mormons, and they had this massive building, and it was a food bank.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that is really cool. And I know from talking to some of the Mormons, if people needed food, they could go to that food bank.
Right.
Or if a crisis happened, there's a food bank that gives to the needy and gives to the poor. And I was like, wow, now that's a provision,
And they say that it's for everyone, not just for them. I mean, I don't know that I believe that,
I do, but the thing about it is that isn't the only one. Yeah, and we're not pushing Mormonism. The Nazarenes, right across the street, there's a food bank and a clothing place, right?
Right. Helping Hands.
Helping Hands, and they can go in and grab what they want. Anybody.
And then there's Idaho, there's lots of food banks.
Tons of food banks. And I couldn't help but think of the witnesses during the pandemic, that the witnesses didn't have nothing. They were told to go to your local brothers and see if they have anything. Brothers have been told to take part-time jobs and pioneer, right? They're going to help you. And but I thought to myself, what provision did the governing body provide for those people during a real pandemic? You can call it a real pandemic, but during a so-called pandemic, what provision did they provide? They didn't provide them any. All they provided them was a damn light on their tablet. That's it. An internet connection. That was the only thing. And then they told them to go home and stay in their houses. I mean, we talked to some people. Remember at that Kingdom Hall? We talked to some people. We visited a Kingdom Hall. We beat on the door and we went up there, and Angela said, well, maybe there's someone in there. And I said, I don't know if there is, but I beat on the door and these kids opened it up and they all had their mask on. And we were asking them, how long have you guys,
Started back the
when did you start back? And they said, well, today's actually the first day.
Yeah. They were just getting ready. They were getting the building ready for the first meeting coming up on Sunday. I think it was a Friday or something.
Yeah.
For Friday afternoon.
And anyway, we asked them, how long? I said, how long has it been since you guys got together and seen each other? And they said, it's over 2 years.
Right.
And I said, no, I mean, like you guys that are right here now, you little group of 4, 5, 6 people, how long has it been? He says, we have not seen each other for over 2 years. Yeah. This was, can you imagine? I mean, governing body has that kind of power to tell you to go home, go to sleep, just watch our little iPad, watch our little internet connection, and just pay attention, And I think, how ridiculous. And then when it came for food, they said, well, the government's got some handouts. You remember that? They told them to go get government handouts.
And I think they handed out government handouts and acted like it was theirs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and besides, so the whole talk here is about giving. Like, we're supposed to be serving and giving. And that's how I see it. To be a person who is considered to be, godly, moral, and, doing good in the world, we're to be serving. Jesus gave that example. So I want to tell you another example. I was raised in Worldwide Church of God. And my brother, I seemed like it was right around that 2020 time. He was like, well, Angela, I hope that you're saving. I hope that you're putting away food and all of that. And then later on, and he said, and something along the line of that, that if you didn't, well, too bad, because basically I'm not going to give you any of mine and it'll be too bad for you. And it was like, absolutely made it very clear that he's not sharing at all, that if I didn't save and I wasn't wise, then too bad for me, because he's not sharing. He made it very abundantly clear. You remember that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You were in and you're out, and there's no provision for you.
But so in other words, I'm saving just for me, selfish little I, me. I don't share. And it's like, okay, this is just really messed up. we don't say for anyone else, or we don't give, we don't share our what we have. In time of need, you'll just be out, Angela.
And then in the old days, what was the church? What was the church that was in the old days? It was a place where people would go, right? And they would give to the needy. Those who had would leave a little extra for the needy, and then the needy would go and take. And you know what I mean?
It was on Sunday. It said in the Bible anyway, that on Sunday in the new church after Jesus died, that on Sunday they would gather. Everybody would gather together and give an offering, and that was to be used for the people who were orphans, widows, poor, in the church, to be passed out by the people that were put in charge of that fund, and that money that they gathered, and that was what they were to do. So we love to give. We're supposed to love to give and serve in our community. Not just our own brothers, even, and certainly not our own selfish self only. So
and so I was just thinking about that. I was thinking, those are some hard times. COVID hurt a lot of people. That pandemic, it hurt a lot of people, and I think at that point I would have said, man, we need some help. We need some guidance other than the scriptures they read. Don't run ahead of us. Don't run ahead of Jehovah. Don't get behind. Jehovah's leading us. Don't get behind. Be obedient. Be patient. Right here it says, be patient. Pay attention to us. And I'm thinking, okay, so what's going on? What is going on truthfully? What the hell is going on while Watchtower is telling you to go home, go to sleep until we tell you to wake up? That's what they did during the pandemic. They just said, go home, we'll, write some letters to some people, keep active, and then we'll get back with you. Now, what the hell was Watchtower doing while they were at home sleeping? They were selling their damn Kingdom Halls off.
That's right.
Like hotcakes.
Yep.
Probably one of the biggest real estate transactions with an S on it happened during the pandemic.
Yeah,
they sold them off like hotcakes.
Yeah.
You imagine coming out of your stupor, you kind of wake up, Watchtower says, hey, Jehovah says it's time to wake up. Yep, it's time to wake up. Okay, yeah, let's go back to the meeting.
Oh, now, by the way, you sold your Kingdom Hall.
Yeah, by the way, you got to drive 2 hours to your Kingdom Hall. What happened to the Kingdom Hall my daddy built? What happened to the Kingdom Hall we all built? What happened to all those buildings dedicated to Jehovah? Oh, we gave them to the church. We gave them to the marijuana clinics. We gave them to whoever the hell we could sell them while you dumbasses slept. Wake up! Jeez, it's terrible to watch what these guys are doing to you. It's sickening. This same crap they've been reading, they're still reading. They were reading the same shit in 75. They were reading the same stuff before that. Be patient. Don't wait on Jehovah. Fear Jehovah is the beginning of wisdom. Fear Jehovah. And they have literally run with that scripture. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of watching it. I'm sick of watching the new governing body members come up there. Yeah, the new what the hell are they?
Faithful and discreet.
Yeah, the new ones that are just going to follow orders and do exactly what they said. And none of them speak from the heart. None of them speak from the heart because there is no heart. They speak from their head. They're titled to their notes. Their notes are here, and they go, we need to follow Jehovah at all costs. Don't run ahead of the organization. Don't get left behind. Jehovah's on the move. Yep. Jehovah's on the move.
Be patient.
Yeah.
All that. It's the same old. We just heard a guy from Bethel that was just talking that Evans, what's it? He had, I forgot the guy's name.
Lloyd Evans.
He had on that he's like going through the words that he had spoken. And it's like, this is the same old. Follow the governing body that's been appointed by Jehovah and trust him and serve them as you serve Jesus and be faithful and be patient. I mean, it's the same old.
Yeah, and I can't help but think, okay, so you come out of your stupor, right? Governing body comes on the screen. They come on your iPad. You're going, okay, what does the governing body say? What does the governing body say? Oh my God.
No, gotta pay attention.
Yeah,
it's like your phone.
And the iPad comes on and they go on there and they say, return to the meetings. And the people go back And what does Tony say? What does Tony Morris say? We need 15,000 more Kingdom Halls. They just sold them off. We need you guys to rebuild our empire again. We've depleted some of our inventory. Think about this. Think about this. We need 15,000 more Kingdom Halls, and we need 1,500 before the end of the year.
I don't know how they're going to manage it with $40 million maybe going out for their, the lawsuit that the judge has ordered them $40 million to pay this lady, and then with having to pay $250,000 for Tony Morris's new house in whatever it's West Virginia, was it?
Yeah, a couple $100,000 for some duplex or something.
So they found him. The guys, they found Tony Morris where he's at. They found his house. They found the mortgage papers, exactly the address. This car's in the driveway. It looks like the same car that he drove to the liquor store. It looks like that's what it looks like.
New York license plates.
Yeah. And yeah, you could see that in the license plate in the garage. So anyway, it's like, I think their money's going out the door, Dan. I don't think they're gonna be doing too good.
But I just wonder how long are you Jehovah's Witnesses gonna continue to build this Watchtower, JW.org infrastructure? You haven't got any of your promises. You haven't got it's Watchtower. It's not the Bible. It's Watchtower making you promises. It's Watchtower setting up false deadlines. It's false. But what are they doing in between? They're moving, selling real estate, and telling you to build more. And here they got, I think Ramapo is one of the dynasties, right, that they want to build.
Yeah.
I mean, it's massive, complex, private, beautiful area. It'll be an Ivy League college in a few years. They'll just sell it off. And the Watchtower people will say, oh, who gives a shit? It's Jehovah's organization. Jehovah can do it. Jehovah can do with his money what he wants with. Not Watchtower. Jehovah can do whatever he wants because we just follow. But I think it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Watchtower is asking again. JW.org is asking again, build our shit, build our stuff. Build Ramapo. And I think there's 2 more places around the world.
Oh yeah, Australia
and somewhere. But there's 2 other Ramapos. They want another empire. And from what I can see, the brothers are ready to build it. I mean, when we were at the assembly, there was a guy there from Bethel, and he was like having an orgasm. He was so excited about Bethel. Oh, I'm in Bethel. Oh, they've got numbers on our clothes, and they've got things tattooed. We go in and we get our clothes from governing body, and they wash them for us, and we get to live in this little bitty apartment, and Jehovah's providing for us so good, while Watchtower is building empires, dynasties. Take a look at Watchtower properties. They did not build that shit themselves. You built it for them. You built it. And you don't care what they do with it. I mean, they could sell 1,000 halls. They can sell three halls in your city. And I asked these brothers, I mean, when I was at that kingdom, well, don't you guys care? What if they sell your hall? No, we don't care.
No, they don't.
And think about this. They not only build them for free, right? Aside from the materials, they have to pay for that. But if a brother owned a lumber yard, they'd probably donate it.
Yeah, they do.
Right? And so they pretty much build them for free. I mean, on free labor, right? And then, like a house or any kind of building, it starts to deteriorate, right?
Sure, yeah.
So the Watchtower people take care of it for free. Yeah. Just think about this.
Yeah.
Think about this. You build it. You build it for Watchtower. You don't build it for you, because all the titles now are in Watchtower's hands,
yeah,
JW.org or whatever the hell they call it now. But all the halls are in their hands, all the titles. And so you build them for them, you maintain them for them, and then they sell them, and you go, I mean, wake up.
Well, here's another thing, Dan. It's interesting, but they did 70 videos at the last conference here in Nampa, Idaho, at the Budweiser Center.
Yep.
Anyways, huge place.
Ford Center.
And anyway, 70 videos were used. We were told by the elder after we were done for the whole conference, like 70 videos. It's like, where are you making these videos? See, that's why they're doing the media center. They have learned from previous conventions that those dramas are so powerful and so strong. And it's true, that moves you more. I mean, you hear it, you see it, it's all got all the senses involved in it, and it seems so real, and it's seared and burned into your mind. And so they've learned that that's the best way to hook people really good. You give them those, burn in that picture in their mind. So they're doing 70 videos at the last convention. Wow. I mean, they really learned it well. So now they're just building media centers all over the world. They know that, hey, another pandemic comes, or they start locking you down in your homes, which is what they want to do to the whole, universe really right now, is lock us down in our homes and make us work there and do everything there. And that way they got control over us. Well, how beautiful. You just make a media center, and then you provide these dramas, and you feed them out on the TV, on your computer, your iPhone, whatever, and you're hooked. You obey, and they're so real. And so lifelike, and the drama, the scariness of it, the fear, the trembling, the visualization that they want you to have, it's just programming. It's brainwashing.
It is. And but
know what they're doing.
If you think about it though, if Toni Morris went up to give a talk, or Stephen Lett, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could they even hold your attention for more than 5 minutes?
Not anymore.
No. You'd be like, or even these brothers that came on there, honest to God, after they played that drama, they sounded like squeaky voices. They didn't sound motivated. They're being replaced by AI.
Yeah, for sure.
They are the governing body, the governing body too. But the speakers and all those people at the conventions are being replaced by AI, artificial intelligence. Yes,
they have been.
And see, that's smart, because wouldn't you rather watch a movie than listen to a bunch of babbling men?
And old.
And the society's got to hope. I hope he's still motivated. I hope when that brother goes up there, he sounds like he believes this shit. You know what I mean? Think about that, really. Yeah, they got to be like, I hope he's in a good mood. I hope he feels good, and I hope he's all fired up. But if he sounds like a dead. But see, a motion picture, you can put all the drama and all the activity in it, and we're running for our lives, they're shooting at us, you excite all the senses. Right. But I just think that's governing body, that's the wisdom that people now would rather go to a movie. It found out, they were doing text on the tablets, people used to write a lot of stuff, but then YouTube took over. And the reason YouTube took over because people would rather watch a video and kind of like a movie than actually read text
or hear a sermon.
Or that's what I mean,
especially from Toni Morris, because now, dear brothers, it's like, oh my God, it is slow brain, man. Mush brain.
Stephen Lett. Yeah. Oh God.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna sneeze.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Sneeze out Tony and sneeze out
right.
Stephen Lett. They say you're allergic to him when you
that's right. They say a lot of times allergies because you're allergic to somebody. Oh my goodness.
So anyway, we just wanted you to think about that, you witnesses. It saddens us to watch them use the Bible in such a covert manner. Literally, that's covert. Keep up, don't fall behind. Fear of Jehovah is the beginning of wisdom. Listen to us. Jehovah has placed them there. They're the faithful and discreet slave. We're Jehovah's only true organization. I mean, it just, they've been doing that same message since I remember in the 60s. At 59, I was born. And I remember in the 60s, that same message, that same fear, wait, be patient, fear, wait, be patient, fear, wait, be patient. It's a cycle. And but now they've interjected the movies. They are trying hard to become an entertainment company. They know that you can capture more people through a movie. Right. Like when the Mel Gibson movie came out, The Passion, millions of people ran. It must be the end of the world, right? But a lot of people ran to the movies and watched that. And they watched that drama and they cried. And so they know that they can capture more senses, more things, and like you said, than just a guy up there giving a talk.
That's our world today, right, guys? I mean, everybody they're watching their iPhones or their YouTubes, their TVs, whatever, and we're kind of hooked on it now. So they know that they're just falling in line, and again, for good reason, because Toni Morris, and Mr. Lett can't do it. They're
Toni Morris is gone now. He's gone.
That's right.
He's no longer one of them.
That's right.
So So anyway, guys, we just wanted you to think about that. The only one who's getting rich here, the only one who's planning for the future is Watchtower. Witnesses aren't planning for the future.
No.
Yeah, your life has been on hold. Your life is still on hold. You're being told to keep it on hold. You're told to do whatever Watchtower says. If we decide to sell, then you applaud. If we could tell you to go to sleep for another 2 years and stay home, you'll stay home. Thank you, Jehovah. I mean, you're totally being ruled by an internet connection. Pretty soon, it is going to be just an internet connection. You're not even going to see the governing body. The screen's going to light up and AI is going to tell you do this and do that. Like Angela said, 70 videos. That's AI replacing these speakers. And like I said, the speaker we heard, he had no gumption, he had no oomph, he had no emphasis, he had no real motivation. He was trying everything he could to give that talk. It's like, how do you follow up after a movie? How do you follow up?
Dan, true. But we should be inspired. I mean, back in the day, you would hear inspired talks in the world, throughout the world, not just in the Jehovah's Witness religion, but inspiring. And inspiration comes from God, and it's straight from God. And so, I'm not hearing a lot of that anywhere in the world anymore. And also, too, we're here to serve. The Bible talks all about it. The word to be in service to our brother, and
not passing out watchtowers and wake that they recall.
No, really seriously serving one another somehow,
Yes.
some way, whatever you find that you're good at to do to serve your brother. And I was noticing even in nature the other day, it's like everything in nature has something to give. Like, okay, I looked at the trees out. I'm looking at them right now, and they're producing oxygen. There's sunshine, shade for the birds that come and land in their branches. They have roots that go down, and those roots, I just found out the other day, are connected with all the roots of all the other plant life and trees around, and they're supporting each other under the earth to be strong. In every way, the fruit, this one has pears, this one has apples, and I was realizing that back in the day of pioneers and whatnot, probably if I had apple trees, I would bring them to the market. That guy has pears and he's going to bring his, and we're all going to share, and we're going to give, and we're going to serve and help each other. So what is there today? I mean, everything is just me, selfish, I. And like my brother is saying that I'm just here to serve myself. I've got my stash. Do you have your stash, Angela? If not, well, I feel sorry for you, because I don't know what to tell you. I can't share, It's like, is that what we've really come to? Because we can't be that way anymore. We've got to get in line and start serving our brother, because that is God. If we're not somehow, some way serving our brother man, then we're out of alignment.
Yeah, and I think that's what the Good Samaritan was all about.
It was.
Glad
you brought it up.
It was a great comparison. I love how Jesus said, the Jehovah's Witnesses were walking down the other side of the street like this. Ooh, he's of the world. Ooh, that man deserved what he got. Oh my God, let's get to the hall because we have to hear the good news. And they leave the guy laying there, right? There's no assistance. There really is no assistance for those out there, because they're part of Satan's world.
How about my brother? Angela, let her die over there. She's not in the kingdom. She's obviously rejected the truth, and let her die. I mean, I've got my stash over here, and I'm on my way to the feast here.
Yeah.
I'm on my way to the Feast of Tabernacles. And well, you know what? She's going to have to just figure it out. God, she made her bed, let her lie in it. I'm on my way. I can't help her. I can't even give anything that I've been saving for myself, because I might not have enough for me.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
Well, and that's the whole thing in the witnesses. The witnesses, the whole preaching work, if we're really honest, is to get my ass into paradise.
Yeah.
It is. It's to get time. It's to go to the Kingdom Hall and say, I passed out so many watchtowers. I remember I used to raise my hand during the theocratic ministry school. I passed out 50 watchtowers this month, or 150. I pioneered this month, and I did early street witnessing, and I threw 25 in this 7-Eleven, and this 25 in this 7-Eleven, and 50 in this laundromat. I remember one time we were putting them in bus stations all over the place. We were putting our magazines in bus stations. And that afternoon we came by, and they had a big windstorm, and they were all over the street, all our magazines. And we're like, wow, oh my God. But then we said, you know what? Jehovah's gonna, maybe a bum will pick them up. Not that we just littered the whole area, right? Or we filled them a laundry mat with them, you know what I mean? And dirtied up some guy's laundry mat with our watchtowers. but that maybe someone will find the truth that way. I remember going into a 7-Eleven and I was running in and I had this big old stack of them, right? Because we were to get rid of our old magazines. And we had hundreds, we had thousands of them. And so we'd go home and grab all our old magazines, stacked that big. And I remember running into this 7-Eleven. I was like waving at the guy, and the guy's like, no, don't come in. And I'm like, why? He reached under the counter and he pulled out a stack of magazines and he goes, I can't take anymore. I don't have anywhere to put them. I swear to God.
Wow.
And I got back in the car. And I'm like, okay, let's get to the next one. But what is that really about?
Right,
really?
right. I mean,
I'm dumping my magazines. I'm throwing them in laundry mats. I mean, we'd go as fast as we could. We'd hit 20 laundry mats. We knew where all the laundry mats were. We knew where all the 7-Elevens were. All the places,
all the easy places,
we
right?
we could dump them. Yeah, we didn't have to talk to anybody.
In our church, it was you went to Sabbath, or right in time. You stopped your work right at sundown on Friday night, and as long as you do that and you make it at church on Saturday, Sabbath, and you don't work that day, and you're faithful in that, and you give your first tithe 10%, your second tithe 10% for the feast that you're saving for, and every 4 years, I think it was, for third tithe another 10%, and you made all the meetings, you went to all the holy days on time, and you got out of work to do that, then you did your work for God, and you're good and you're safe. You've obeyed our church rules and obey the Old Testament law, and you don't eat pork, and you don't, you do everything we say. As long as you do what we say, and what we say the Bible says that you are to do, then we're going to make it into paradise or heaven. To us, it was the kingdom, because it's to be kingdom on earth. That's what we saw how you guys did. But all of that is like doing like works that men say to do, or the Old Testament says to do, and then you're going to be right in God's graces. And I want to tell you, there's a scripture. I remember this guy, I was thinking about it over and over again. He was a wealthy oil man, and he built a beautiful home in my area in Buffalo Creek, kind of near Buffalo Creek, Colorado, beautiful area in the mountains. And he was dying, he got cancer, and I was there cleaning his house with his wife. And so he goes, Angela, because these Jehovah's Witnesses came to my door and they gave me this stuff. And what do you think about the Jehovah's Witnesses? And so I remember saying to him, but God popped right in my head, this scripture. It says, all I can tell you is this. It says it is by grace that we are saved through faith. And this not of yourselves. It is the gift of God. It is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. And then I'm like, well, what I know of the Jehovah's Witnesses is that they go around, they pass them out, as many people as they can get magazines to or literature to, then that's one more, proof. That's one more
reason to boast.
Reason to boast. It's my, what do you call it? I'm just getting more and more into my coffer, if you will. Yeah. So I'm allowed to go into, I'm going to be allowed to be in the paradise. So I'm
earning it.
Earning it. Yeah. And so in my coffers, right? And so I said, that is works, plain and simple. That is works. And that is not the way to get into the kingdom of God. And so then that was it. And he didn't pursue that anymore. But I just remember that, but it's not any different in the church I grew up in. At the time, I wasn't in that church anymore, but same thing. Keep the holy days, keep the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Don't eat pork, don't eat, pay your tithes, and you're good. You just do what we say, and you serve our church however we tell you to serve, and then you're good. The more you serve our church, and my dad worked on the printing presses and low salary, and you do all these things we tell you to do, and you're good with God. They dictated that I would be good with God, we would be good with God, as long as we did what they said, what they say the Bible says,
Yeah.
I don't know, guys, because that's not necessarily service.
No,
it just isn't.
And it's weird. It almost seems like right now, tell me if I'm wrong, but don't it seem like plagues are coming upon the JW.org? It used to be in our time when we were in there back in the 80s, all the witnesses ever talked about were the victories. We got into this country. We won this government settlement. We won this lawsuit. We won this. And now it's not that way. Now they're being indicted. Pedophiles are being indicted. They lost that case. The case in Hawaii, $40 million. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they'll fight it, but they're losing them one after another. Watchtower is having to pay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's almost like curses put upon them. You know, back in Pharaoh's time, you know, God said, you go tell them to free my people. Let my people go. You've already proved to be false prophets. I mean, Watchtower's already proved to be false prophets. And I think God has told them it's time to let go. It's time to let go of the fear, the manipulation, the coercion, the Bible, using the Bible as a weapon against the people, and free my people. But they're not freeing them. They're getting worse. The Watchtowers listen to us like your life depends on it, because it does. Threats, death threats, threats, death threats. How many times have you been told you're going to be killed if you leave? How many times have you been told you're not going to be able to see your family? How many times have you been told, you know, don't drift off, don't do this, don't do that, be patient, keep following us, keep building for us, keep serving us, and without any kind of reward. You know what I'm saying? So I think God is saying enough. And now the lawsuits are coming down. It's like their wealth's being stripped away. It's like they're not listening. They're getting harder. They're bad men advancing from bad to worse.
That's right, man. That's right.
And so,
you know, and I'll tell you what, I think that pretty soon worldwide's going to get exposed to. There's some stuff coming down the pipeline I'm learning about this college that they had in Big Sandy. So they had one in Pasadena, California, one in Big Sandy, and it turned into this horrible nightmare of a cult, including some orphans that come in from all around the world, and that they're training them in these training camps to be like a military academy kind of thing with these young boys. And then I find out that there's one of the main offshoots of the Worldwide Church of God literally stationed as a church right outside the gates of the facility that they supposedly sold to these people. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know, I'm starting to hear from Worldwide Church of God people that there's connections, and there's people that were in the Worldwide that are running this cult. They've been televised by this big family that was well known, that were hooked into it. Wow, I think they're about ready to get some exposure soon.
oh yeah,
And I'm so glad, because it's like, what can you do? I mean, a church dissolves, and what can you do once that happens? You know,
we'll have to tell them about that movie that we watched. I forget the name of it, Haunted or something.
yeah, Haunted, yeah.
There's some movie that has to do with the
I just
worldwide
saw
and
it.
how these elders came in, and beautiful family, just beautiful, just playing in the fields, these kids. And then one of the elders takes notice of
Yeah,
one
they
of the
just were
kids,
starting to get into the church,
and he said, that boy needs to be
and
spanked.
they just got moved in their brand new house in another state. And this elder comes and starts taking control of their lives, and that boy was tortured. It had the word torture.
Yeah,
in
it
it.
went all the way to torture, because it started out, he got a spanking, and his brother's watching like, who's this guy that just walked into our house and said, spank your kids, and put him over his knee and spanked him? Then he all of a sudden turned to him and said, there's something wrong with that boy. I think he's gay. And they sent him off to this camp Angela's talking about. It's a real camp.
I don't know that it's that one. It's not that one.
But
it's one just like
yeah,
it.
it's a documentary. This
yeah,
is
it's a
a
documentary.
literal true story. The guy's there crying,
Oh,
saying they sent me this thing. They put me in a cage. They were trying to break me. And he said the whole time he was going, okay, I must need to be broken. But the end of it, the guy screwed him in the butt.
no, a group of men did.
Yeah,
And they put him upside down in a cage overnight, and
didn't feed him.
he turned blue. I mean, he practically didn't survive it. It was horrible, nightmarish torment and torture.
Yeah, because they wanted him
Cold,
broken.
frozen, yeah.
And I remember that's what it felt like in the Witnesses.
I think it's called Cult of Torture, right?
Yeah, cult of torture.
Yeah.
But I remember in the Witnesses, they were hell bent on breaking you. Use the rod, you know, to remove any of these thoughts. They must be obedient to Jehovah.
Yes.
You know, beat the living shit out of
They
them.
even taught the men in the worldwide, and I just heard it for the second time. Another guy mentioned it, that they were taught that you may even need to spank your wives.
Yeah.
And my dad did spank my mother.
Angela
And
said
I
she saw
saw
her
it.
bent over his knee, his wife.
Yeah, my brother and I decided to look for that. This old house that had the old keyhole, and we looked in there and saw my mom over his lap, and he was spanking her. So he was obedient to the governing body, you know, to the church leaders.
Yeah.
What did they say? We just do it? No, we've got to have our own minds.
Yes.
We've got to have our own minds.
And that's what happens. And that's why we're talking about this. God gave you a mind to think with. God gave you a mind to think with. He gave you a heart to feel with. He didn't give you a heart to shut down, like Watchtower says, don't trust your heart, it's treacherous and desperate. And now the audacity of Watchtower to say, don't even use your thinker now. Just do what we tell you. Don't even think about it. I mean, because if we thought about it, we would be out of there already. If we just sat down and thought, really, if we had 5 minutes to think about all the false promises from the 70s, just say on up. I know they go way back. But if we just thought about that, we would know that they've lied and they continue to lie and they don't care about lying. That's not in their consciousness.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can use your brain. You have a license to use your brain. God gave you a brain. My dad used to say that. God gave you a brain, damn it, use it. God gave you a brain, but the Watchtower is saying don't use your brain.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Really are. And you guys, I want to just tell you one thing that I learned from being in a secondary cult. Unfortunately, if those of you that don't know this, but when you get out of a cult, the reason why you were in one and you got caught, they teach you to not use your own mind. And if you do, you get in trouble because somehow you, like Dan, he got kicked out because he used his own mind. And he said, you guys, do we just pass up this 75 prophecy? See, I've been preaching it. Do we just pass it up? You see, he was using his own mind. And then he got shut down and he got, privileges taken away and on apostate watch, because he entertained thoughts that they didn't think was right. So they teach you don't use your own mind, right? Well, it's exactly the same in all sick cults. It's the same way, same in mine, the same in the second one that I was in. And I want to tell you what, this is a bottom line that I learned. If you see deviations with regard to the sex department, where guys taking privileges to say that he is entitled to have your body because I'm the guru or the prophet or the man of God or the whatever, or for any reason that they think they have a right over your body, and somehow sexually they do things that are not, you're not married to this man, so then no one should have a right over your body at all, right? So anything out of ordinary in the sexual department, straight on, that is the devil, and run like hell. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't deviate. It doesn't matter which church it is that I can tell you is a cult. They have deviated in the sexual department somehow. They're doing their own daughters, trying to, bring other little girls in for little slumber parties, and then they're doing them. And it just goes on and on. These sneaky little sexual, if you see any of that, if you've ever been involved in any of that, know that you were involved in a cult.
You have 3 elders inviting a woman in to talk about the bedroom.
Oh,
same thing.
Geez, I'm telling you, anything out of the ordinary with regard that's not straight, simple, basic, what God had intended is absolute sexual deviancy. It's deviant because it's out of the norm, out of what God has in mind, and that is almost 100% a cult, whether it's religious or not.
That's right.
There's also, other than you guys, it's not just religions that are cults. It's businesses, it's government buildings, it's corporations. It's not just churches, but they that's what they do there too. Or it'll be involved in money too. Yeah, a lot of times money is also involved. But anyway, just know that this is how you can tell. It's one of the big ways I've learned, and it's a telltale sign that you've been in a cult. So for whatever that's worth.
Okay. All right, guys, that's it for today.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the video, pass it on, post it, repost it, do whatever you want with it, but let people know. This is a cult. These are cults. Worldwide Church of God, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're cults. And there's a lot more of them out there. Don't be deceived.
And United Church of God is an offshoot of Worldwide Church of God, really big, growing like leaps and bounds. There's other ones too. I think the Church of God, Big Sandy, Texas. I'm starting to find out more about that. I have a feeling they're an offshoot. I know that. Anyway, so watch out. And you guys, just get in service to your brother man. Figure out what you're good at and serve. Don't care of the religion that they're in or whatever. If you feel led by God to serve that person because they're in need, or whatever, or you just feel like this is what you're good at to serve in somehow, some way. If you're good at phone calls, then go call people and encourage them. If you're good at, I don't know, with the animals, then offer to babysit your neighbor's, cat while they're going out of town. I don't know. Figure out some way that you can serve lovingly with love in your heart and be of service to your brother man. That's it. So
that's right.
Love, just love.
That's right.
And serve and give.
That's right.
The best you know how to do.
And that's what we're supposed to do. And that's what we should want to do. you know, help out.
This is what Dan and I
not
do.
just out of obligation, not just I have to, you know, like these little broadcasts. We don't get paid nothing. I mean,
No,
there's some advertising that goes on there. We let them
Not much,
advertise, and
yeah.
it's like it ain't a big deal.
Totally.
It's like you don't make your living off of a
No.
YouTube video or anything like that.
no.
And so anyway, guys, like we said, pass the video on if it helped you, like and subscribe. And we always enjoy doing these with you. We always just are encouraging people to think, people to reason, people to look at this thing square in the eye. Don't fear. We're always, encouraging fearlessness, thinking, feeling with your heart, all the things Watchtower tells you not to do. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes, and we got books. I've got one called Awakening from Unconscious Resentment. Dan's got Eyewitness and Surrender, all on Amazon. Okay, this one. And so just know that there's some help for you. Eyewitness by
It's
Daniel.
a book about how I woke up.
Yeah. And Secrets of Brainwashing Techniques, that's on Surrender, all on Amazon for pretty cheap. So anyway, check out our books if that might help you, because we tell how we got out and all that. So it's real encouraging. My dad read it twice. Many people surrender that book. People love it, crazy over it. And we've got other books too. But anyway, we love you guys, and we just want the best for you. We want you to get free and find your joy and your happiness, and know that you're loved by God, and know that God is not the mean, mad Jehovah or God that we've been taught. It's not the way that Dan and I have discovered it. We discovered it in a completely opposite God than what we've been taught. And that's why we do what we do, because we don't want people to have to go through all of that. We want you to be able to get free and get out. So that's why we do what we do. We're motivated because we got help, and we feel motivated to help.
That's
Now
right.
that we've been helped, we want to do it. It's like you want to do it. You feel compelled to do it. So
That's
anyway,
right.
we love you guys, and you're
All right.
worth it.
Love you guys.
Right. We love you.
All right. Talk to you soon. See you on
Bye-bye.
the next video.
Yep.